Waiting for the rest of our comrades to come in the room. Glad everybody could make it today. I know it's kind of a weird week with the 4th coming up here, at least in the United States. Hello, hello, everybody. It's good to see all the names coming in. Hey, Tracy, Brian, Sherry. Wow, they're flowing in here. It's hard to see. Miguel, Leon. Awesome. Hey, Kushal, Jim's here. Eileen's here. Cammy's here. And Iram is here with me behind the scenes. Jessica is on vacation today. She took a day off, heading out a day early to go up to Mammoth, I think it was, or it is. So you got Dave and Iram today. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you. I'm going to wait another few minutes. Iram is here in the chat. I'm going to say hello in the chat as well, just so everyone can see. And Iram is letting everybody in. So Iram, looks like we're maybe about halfway filled here with the class. So I'll wait maybe another 30 seconds. We got a lot I want to cover today and really jazzed to be able to share this with you all. So Iram is here in the chat. As you know, most of you know Iram if you've been here with us before or if you've worked with our incredible support team. Hey, Jim, I don't know if I said hello to you yet. You're here. It's good to see everybody. I'm looking over here to my right is all of the names as they come into the room. So looks like David Buck is in the waiting room. We'll get David in here, and then maybe we will have a few more that pour in right as we turn to the next slide here. So, all right, Iram, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to session number 4. Like I said a moment ago, I'm really excited to get into today's material because there's a lot of really cool stuff that I want to share with you. I've got a handout that's eventually going to come your way. I've got it here in front of me. I'll walk through that in a second. And you should have received the email yesterday from, maybe it was Jessica or Iram, talking about how today we've got some really tactical things that we're going to be doing, which I'm really excited for. So I want to give you a little bit of a heads up if you didn't get that email or if you didn't have a chance to do this yet. This is not necessary, folks, but it might be helpful if you either have 2 devices. I know some of you are in a conference room looking at this, so maybe if you have 1 or 2 additional laptops there in front of you, because what we're going to do is not only be conversing here in Zoom, but also I want you to pull up LinkedIn at certain points throughout today's training so that you can do some stuff along with me, okay? So I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up. You don't need to be ready yet, but if you have another device or if you have 2 screens or maybe 3 like I do, get those ready because you're going to use that today. So it looks like everyone's for the most part here. Hello, everybody. If I didn't say hello to you yet, let me see. Eileen is saying everyone from SP Mount is here. We got John, Chuck, Scott, and Eileen. We're zooming in from the same room. Wow, everyone's together. That's cool. Hopefully you're 6 feet apart, or at least whatever the state there mandates. Awesome. It's good to see everybody. Dave's ready with his 3 screens. Cool. Well, as you know, today we're talking about setting up a magnetic LinkedIn profile. That's the topic of what we're going into. And this is something that's really exciting for me because once you learn how to do this, folks, this is going to unlock a lot of opportunities for you. And when I say opportunities, yes, I'm talking about leads and sales, but also just a whole host of new opportunities to meet people who could eventually become employees, could become partners, could become staff. Joint ventures, you know, if you're looking to buy a company or merge with a company, all sorts of business opportunities come through LinkedIn. And so it all starts with creating a profile, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And then I'm going to give you a framework for how to actually tactically work within LinkedIn to start drawing this kind of activity to you. So to understand why this is so important, the whole LinkedIn profile aspect, let me do a quick recap of where we were last week. If you missed it, I'm sure you've watched the video or you should have watched the video by now, but you'll remember that we were talking about how you can distribute your content through LinkedIn to drive it into Mindfire to maximize your opportunities for engagement and leads. You remember this chart? We've seen this a couple of times. We were really focused in here on the social last time, how to use social, LinkedIn specifically, to bring folks into your Mindfire campaigns, right? You should all remember that. And I talked a bit about the mindset that you need here, which is that in social, or even in email for that matter, as you're doing your marketing, it does require a mind shift in many people. And what we talked about is that you need to look at the content that you're creating that's supporting your marketing activities, that's ultimately driving your sales. You need to look at that content and the information that you're putting out there as giving away value, like literally giving out money, right? And the idea is that you need to give, and then give some more. And that notion is new for some people. It's not something that everyone naturally kind of falls into, especially as it relates to social. A lot of what you see, like on Facebook and stuff, is people talking about themselves, right? And that's kind of the natural mode that a lot of us use social in. We also talked about how what you need to start to learn to do is understand that most people are consuming social media, but I want to encourage you to think about how to produce content that you're distributing in social that's driving traffic and generating leads for you by thinking about how you're going to be a producer of that information, right? And we talked about how there's a difference in the mindset between, the consumer who's there to get a quick adrenaline hit, jumps around from platform to platform, usually doesn't post too much. That's kind of this side of the screen here. And then on the right side, we talked about how as a producer, your eyes, as you're grabbing your phone or however you engage with social, you need to be looking for posts that already are garnering attention, learning from that. You need to understand how the different platforms work and how you contextualize what you're doing to each platform. You know that as a producer, you need to ask questions, you need to engage, you need to be social on social media, and you know that you need to create content on a regular basis, okay? And I gave you a framework last time, the orthogonal top 5. Whether you sell print, whether you sell houses. Is Tracy here? I don't know if Tracy is here. Yeah. Oh, no, different. Yeah, there's Tracy. Whether you're in investment banking, whether you're trying to sell yourself as a political candidate, whatever it is that you have for the world, whatever it is that you want to get out into the world, this model here gives you a way to create content really in an unlimited fashion by identifying your top interest areas, your personal passions, and where they intersect with the thing that you want to get out into the world. I gave you the example of me. Let's say that my area of interest is marketing. For me, one of my cross orthogonal interests might be print. So at the intersection of that for me is content that I can create for our audience, for our tribe. I told you that one of my favorite bands was or is Nirvana. And so at the intersection of people who like Nirvana, like me, and marketing, there's a group of people that I can resonate with. And similarly, I told you how as a father, as an entrepreneur, living the dad life while trying to run a business is not easy. And there's a lot of people out there who understand what it's like to be a parent and be running a business. So at the intersection of those two things is content that will resonate with my audience. And I encouraged you to all do the same thing. And when you do that right, people start coming to you. You start attracting, like what we have here on the screen, examples of people asking you to work with them, wanting to do business with you, having potential opportunities for you to be interviewed, guest writing opportunities. I have a whole host of things here on the screen, right? These are real life examples of things that will start to happen to you when you live out this model. So I want to take a brief moment here. I want you to go over to the chat, and I just want to hear from you. Over the last week, the last 7 days since we got together, okay, how many of you had one of these things happen to you? Any one of these? Did someone say, hey, I want to buy something from you? Did somebody say, hey, I want a quote for your services? Did you get an investment opportunity? There's a lot of weird stuff that comes our way when we're on LinkedIn. Did you get a speaking request? Any guest writing opportunities? Anything like this? I want to just read. I just want to see what's coming in for folks. So David got a speaking request. Congratulations, my man. Let me know when that is. I would love to attend. The other David says nothing yet. All right, hang in there. You will. Paul is saying we have daily quote requests. Awesome. That's good. And I want those to continue, and I want to help you get those to revenue, help you get those closed into deals. What else? Tracy, the two Tracys, Sherry, Miguel, Leon, John, Jim, Jamie, Elsa. I want to hear from you. In the last week, what's happened for you? Tracy says, I received a referral for 3 properties. Cool. Was that 3 separate referrals or one that gave you 3? Amy is saying yes, quotes. I assume that means some quotes, job quotes. Awesome. Tracy got 1 referral that gave her 3 properties. Awesome. Cool. Cammie, how about you? Brian, I don't think I've heard from you. I want to hear from you as well. Let's see who else I haven't heard from. Jim, did I hear from you, Jim? Any of these come into you? Nothing yet, says Cammie. Okay. Well, don't give up. Don't give up. You're here for a reason. I know that you're here for a reason. This is not accidental. You're going to get something out of this course, and it will happen for you, Cammie. I know it will. Eileen saying 1 post, lots of views, just glad to begin the process. Yes, everyone has to start somewhere. Sharon says quote requests and early discussions about podcast interviews. Wonderful. Elsa says an old client now at a new company reached out for a new order and quote. Also got 2 quotes yesterday, 2 quote requests yesterday. Wonderful. Jerryson has been pretty quiet this week. A lot of connection requests, but that isn't on your list. Okay, we're going to talk about connection requests here in a minute. Awesome, folks. Well, keep at it. That's good to hear. Tracy's saying, I'm meeting a new ideal future client through I am meeting new ideal future clients through a DaVinci campaign for virtual trade show booth. Awesome. Cool. Well, I told you that when you do this and when you invest in the omni-channel method, when you put yourself into it, like I know you will, you have a big strategic advantage, folks, if you keep at this, if you keep doing this, because 99% of folks who are on LinkedIn, I'm using LinkedIn today as the example, are just consuming the content. And that means that LinkedIn, we talked about this last time, has a huge appetite for us as the producers to create engaging content. And in that disparity, there is a big opportunity. It's a strategic advantage that I want you to leverage. I want you to be able to take advantage of so that ultimately, most of us here are trying to sell something so that you can sell more. Okay, that's the idea. That's what we talked about last week, and that's where we went kind of deeply into some of the aspects of LinkedIn around creating content that helps you do that. And now today, as you know, I want to talk about your LinkedIn profile, okay? Because to understand how you're going to draw your market to you, to generate leads and to give you those kinds of opportunities that you want, you need to create a LinkedIn profile in a specific way, and you need to support it with some activities in a very certain way, okay? There is a method to this. There's a system. And once you learn it, you'll start to see results when you consistently apply that. So the mindset that we need to talk about here, as you're thinking about this, some of you may have some of these things I'm about to say kind of running through your head, which is that maybe just because you haven't used LinkedIn in the past, maybe you think, well, therefore it won't work for me. You know what I mean? Like, I've never done it, haven't had to maybe in the past, right? So therefore, this LinkedIn thing, being active on social in the omni-channel way, it probably won't work for me, right? That might be one misconception that some people have. Second thing that might be in your mind is, well, I'm on LinkedIn right now. Maybe you've been on it even for a few years, or maybe you're not even on LinkedIn yet. I think all of you are. I'm going to show you how I know that here in a second. But maybe because you've been on LinkedIn and it hasn't been doing anything for you, you therefore think that it's not doing anything for anyone, which is not true. Neither of those things are true, okay? I want you to think about this in a way where you say, okay, let me be open to the possibility that there is actually a gold mine here that I just need to learn how to mine. I need to learn how to extract value from, okay? I use this example a lot when I'm talking to folks, and I think it'll be relevant to many of you because a lot of you are in direct marketing. But let's say you created a marketing campaign, okay? Let's say a direct mail piece, and you had a call to action on that, and you're sending it out to your target market, and you want people to pick up the phone and call you based on that direct mail piece. And imagine that, like, let's say you send that out on a Monday, and 4 or 5 days later, 0 phone calls have come in. Nobody's called, right? It's clear what the problem is, I think. It's the phone, right? Something's broken with the phone. Obviously, it's got to be the phone. Well, I hope you know I'm joking. I'm being facetious, right? Not even close. You can't blame the phone or the phone company. for it not working. It's something else further upstream. It's something about the piece, about the offer, about the call to action. You all know this. You're all marketers. If your mail doesn't work, you can't blame the phone, right? You can't say that AT&T has the problem. That's silly. Yet, when working with our clients and students who have gone through this in the past, a lot of people blame LinkedIn. They say it doesn't work, right? Sorry, folks, you can't blame LinkedIn. It's not LinkedIn. The problem is somewhere else, okay? And so the mindset that you need to have as you go into this is, okay, even if it hasn't worked for me before, even if I've tried it and it hasn't worked for me, I need to be open-minded and learn this process so that I can take advantage of it. So here's the framework. I want to show you the framework that we're going to get into today, okay? The steps that I'm going to take you through tactically. It all starts with this strategy. If you look at the screen, the cornerstone is your LinkedIn profile. We're going to spend significant time on that today. This is where, if you remember back to session 1, you as the expert in your field with your new opportunity, this new opportunity you present your market, and this future-based cause that you're communicating out to your market, this is kind of the home base for that information, okay? Your LinkedIn profile. Now, we talked about this last week. Once you have your LinkedIn profile in hand, you need to regularly produce or publish content, okay? And I gave you this framework last time for doing that. So you have to have your profile in order. We're talking about that today. Second, you need to publish content. Third, you need to connect with people. Sherry, I know you mentioned that a second ago, and we're going to talk about that today. You need to connect with people. And fourth, you need to engage. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that today, okay? So it may look simple, folks, or you may think, oh my gosh, this is a lot. I don't know where it strikes you, but this is what you need to do, and I'm going to show you piece by piece, okay? It's going to start with your profile. We're going to talk about publishing content. We're going to talk about how to connect, and we're going to talk about how to engage. And when you do these things, that's how you start drawing people to you. This is what's working on LinkedIn. This is how you're going to be magnetic in bringing people to you. So what I want you to do right now, it sounds like some of you are already ready. Have LinkedIn open, follow along with me here in Zoom, and we're going to start with your profile. And the first thing I want to know is, do I have a brave soul who would like us to use their profile in this illustration here? Is there somebody over here in chat that would like to give me their profile? Give me your, okay, Sherry says yes. Give me a few URLs, folks. I want to bring up a few people here and take a quick look. So I'm going to go over to LinkedIn. Eileen is saying, go ahead and use mine. All right, so let me bring up LinkedIn. Does everyone see LinkedIn here? You should. There's Eileen, is that right? Okay, cool. David Buck, Elsa says as well. Let me bring up Elsa here. I'll bring up Elsa's here on the screen. Okay, cool. And I'll do one more. Let's see who just came in. David Gardner. Okay, awesome. Very good. Okay, I'll do a few more here in a second, but I think I have enough examples here on the screen. Perfect. So can everybody confirm that you can see right now? I've got David Gardner here on the screen. Can you all see that? Say yes if you can see the screen here. Let me know if you can see. Okay, perfect. All right, so what I'm going to do right now, there is a companion guide that goes along with what I'm describing here. IRAM has the link. IRAM, don't send that out yet. Let's keep everyone focused on this, but folks, we will send you, it's a 5 or 6 page PDF that's going to articulate everything that I'm talking about here, and it includes on the last page a checklist that you can go through and check off everything I'm about to talk about here, okay? So we'll send that out to you either in a moment here or in the follow-up so that you have that. So with David here, thank you, David, for giving us the opportunity to look at your profile here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through some of the basic things that you need to have in order on your LinkedIn profile, okay? And I'm kind of going to go from top to bottom. Don't feel badly if you're like, oh my gosh, how come I never thought of that? Don't worry, this is natural. But for the rest of you, many of you are going to see similar things on your profile as we walk through here, okay? So firstly, David, here's a recommendation for you and for everybody else as well. I saw a few others of you in the same situation. Yeah, like Elsa here. So the first thing is, highly recommend that you consider changing this header image here, okay? This tells me, as a rather experienced LinkedIn user and others that are out there, that you haven't taken the time yet to update your profile image. This is an image that you can easily change. Elsa is doing the same here, so you're all in the same boat. Don't worry about that. Eileen, I think, actually has updated hers. Okay, so Eileen actually has an updated image here. Now, what kind of image works there? Well, anecdotally, what seems to do well is something that's related to your market, something that you do. If you have a picture of you on stage presenting or meeting with somebody, or if it's a famous somebody, that works well. Something that adds some gravitas to your profile and shows the viewer that you took a little bit of time to actually customize your header image there. So David, that would be the first recommendation that I would have for you and for everybody here, is to make sure that you take the time to personalize that image there. Now, David, your image is good. And let me see, Elsa looks good. Eileen, yeah. So sometimes I see folks have an image here that's like, really far back. You can't really see too much of them, or they've got a hat on and they're looking somewhere else. Generally, we recommend kind of shoulders up, which it looks like David's doing and Elsa's doing. So looks like you're all good there, folks. I don't know about for the rest of you as you look at your profiles, but if you don't have a good photo, you know what? Even an iPhone these days, or Android modern phone, is more than sufficient to take a good picture. All right, so have your partner, your spouse, a friend, a colleague take a photo of you, and you kind of want to go from here up. All right, so that would be the next thing that I would say for you. Now, interestingly here, let me see what Elsa has. I'm going to talk about this line right here. Now, men and women, this may seem small, but this is really big. Do you see where I'm highlighting here? You see this right here? Sorry, right here, this line. This line, when you're out there in LinkedIn and you're dropping a comment or engaging with somebody, this line is what shows up beneath your name. Most people use it to kind of say what their title is. So let's see if Elsa's doing that. Yeah, sales manager, solutions ninja, a little bit different. What I recommend you do, and David Gardner, and for the rest of you, this is something that I maybe in the past 9 months or so changed, and it brought some significant results, was instead of saying what my title is, which is kind of the pat on the back that makes us feel good, what I suggest you think about is putting something there that speaks to your target audience about the value that you bring them. So as an example, and I'm not saying mine is perfect either, but let me show you an example of what I mean here. I'm going to go to mine, my profile. So because I'm active, and when I drop a comment, I know that my audience, whether or not I'm connected to them or not, can see my title. I change it, and what we teach our students to do is to change it to something like this, where you say, helping, or I help, and then name the groups of people or the audience that you serve, so that they know what you do. Actually, in this document that I'm going to have IRAM send you, we have a template that works fairly well that you can kind of, I don't want to say copy and paste, but you can insert your particular area of expertise into, so that people know what you can do for them. So as an example, David, when you go and you drop a comment, it says you're owner of Boyd's Direct, a marketing services organization. So if I were to see that, possibly I might say, well, that's interesting, but I don't know what he can do for me, right? Whereas if you could say, look, I help software companies. Let's say you're trying to target me, right? I help software companies increase sales through targeted direct mail. Well, then your audience, the people that you want to engage, may be more attracted to that than a generic kind of headline here, which makes us feel good, right? Co-founder, president, CEO, whatever we happen to be. But is that really speaking to our audience? Now, let me see, Elsa. Elsa's got something interesting here. Sales manager at American Printing and Company, activator at SheEO. So again, Elsa, who do you want to serve? Whose eye do you want to catch? I would suggest, again, you'll get this later, but look at updating your headline, okay? Let's see what Eileen has. Solutions Ninja. My project management skills help print buyers maximize return on print, mailing, and packaging. Okay. That's more of what I'm talking about there. All right. So if I see that and I'm somebody who wants to maximize my return on print or mail, or maybe even packaging, then I might say, okay, Eileen, that's interesting. Let me connect with her. Let me see what she's about. Am I making sense? People are saying they can't see the screen. Is that just Anne Marie, or can the rest of you not see the screen? I thought you guys all could see the screen. Let me know if you can't see the screen. Is that true? Okay, David says I can see it. Sherry's saying I can see it. Anne Marie, maybe it's a Zoom thing on your side. Thankfully, everyone else can see it. Good thing I wasn't talking to myself there. So let me just make sure I'll reshare it there. Okay, seeing it all. Okay, great. So let me ask you if you get what I'm throwing down here, men and women. Change this image. Make sure you have a professional-ish headshot and take advantage of this opportunity here, because that's what people are going to see. Are you making sense? Sherry's saying VP of Austin. I mean, come on. You think that isn't cool enough? Sherry, your personality is so strong, you might be more than able to get away with that. That might be more than sufficient for you. Not all of us can be as engaging and charismatic as you are. So Sherry, that might work just fine for you. All right. But I would highly recommend that you consider that, folks. Now, let me see if you have any questions. Leon is saying yes, he understands. Amy saying yes. Seeing it all. Okay, very good. Now, for those of us in sales, business ownership, marketing, you want people to be engaging you, make sure that your contact info is included here. So now I haven't looked at Eileen, so I don't know what I'm going to find here, but what I see Eileen has is a link to her profile, which I'm on, a link to her company website, her email, and when the two of us connected. Now, Eileen, if I saw your project management skills here and I thought, shoot, she's talking to me, I need to talk to Eileen. How do I get a hold of her? I don't see that there, right? Let's go look over at Elsa, see what Elsa has here in her contact info. Aha, Elsa's got email and a phone. Perfect. So if I could click over to Elsa and she could help me with my project management issues in print and mail, maybe I might pick up the phone and give Elsa a call because it's easier to get a hold of her, right? So my point is, men and women, if we're in sales or business ownership and we want to drive engagement, take the opportunity to include your contact info there if you want people to reach out to you. Let's see what David's got. David's got website, perfect, phone. David, is that your cell or is that your work number? Just make sure you know that if you want sales, that someone's going to be on the other end there and pick that up. Obviously, I'm sure you know that. He's got his address, good, his email. Birthday, I also recommend birthday and when we connected. And let's look at one more here. Oh, that's me. All right, so David, not bad here. The reason why I recommend birthday, another attribute that I would say you should have there, is that LinkedIn will notify people when it's your birthday. So his birthday is December 12th, right? And you might think that's silly. What does that have to do with anything? Well, you're getting free publicity. Basically, LinkedIn is going to notify all of us that David's birthday is on the 12th. And if I have in mind his new revised headline, whatever it is he changes that to, and all of a sudden LinkedIn tells me it's his birthday, David's getting free exposure from that. It might tickle 1, 2, 3 people to say, I've been meaning to find somebody who can help me with that. Let me reach out to David, not only wish him a happy birthday, but also see if he can help me with my problems, right? Now, if you think that's silly, that doesn't happen, I can assure you folks that does happen. Take the opportunity to turn that on. You don't have to put the year if you're concerned about that. In fact, I don't even know if you can put the year, but put the day so that you have an opportunity to engage your audience and your audience can engage you. So there's a couple of things that I would recommend here. Let's see if David's got them all. I'm referring to the guide here, which you're going to get. Website, blog. I don't know if you have a blog or a company blog, David, or for the rest of you, phone number, address, email. David's got his email. If you have any other social media handles, like your Twitter handle, if you're active on Twitter or Facebook, you can include that as well, and birth date. All right. Does that make sense, everyone? So this is largely for those of you who want leads and sales. Don't have a profile that makes it hard for people to get a hold of you. Okay. You want to make it easy for them to contact you. So perfect. Now, let me show you something here. David, It's true for David, it's true for Elsa, and it's true for Eileen. All right. So the three of you, and I want the rest of you to check this as well and tell me if this is the case for you. So David, Elsa, and Eileen, you are inadvertently leaking potential interested viewers to your competitors. I'll say it one more time. People who are coming to your page, LinkedIn is actually drawing them to your competitors in some cases. Here's what I mean. Look at the screen over here. This algorithm that LinkedIn uses for people also viewed over here is showing people, viewers, others who are like you, Eileen, or Elsa, others who are like you. David, similarly for you, okay? And in many cases, LinkedIn is displaying our competition. Now, of course, if you create a blue ocean, you don't have competition, but why even distract this person around clicking somebody else's name? So now you can turn this off. And that's what I highly recommend is you turn that off so that when people are viewing your profile, David, Eileen, Tracy, all of the rest of you, that they stay on your profile and you don't link people that you start to, direct them to your competitors. Why do that? Turn that off. Who else has that on? Give me a yes if you have that on in the chat. Go look right now. Tell me if you have that on. I can pull up a few others, but if you don't know how to turn it off, again, in this document that we're going to send out, you can go through a few steps. It's like 3 or 4 steps and turn that off. Okay, I highly recommend that you turn it off. Leon is saying yes. Amy is saying yes. Brian is saying yes. Who else? Does anybody have it off? I haven't looked at everyone yet, but does anybody actually have that off? Tracy also said it's on. Okay, David's saying he has it off. Good. So David picked that up or picked that up on his own. That's good, David. Yeah, most people. This is going to give you a leg up on the competition. Most people have that on. All right, cool. Hopefully that brings some value to you guys. Now, the other thing I want to show you, I'm just going to scroll down a little bit further here. David's saying I gave him that tip. Oh, great, good. It's a tip I give often. Let's look right here. I'm going to look at David's real quick. David's about section. I'm going to expand that for David, and I'm going to expand it for Elsa, and I'm going to expand it for Eileen. So I'm talking about the about section right here. You should all have that on your profile. Most people will talk about themselves, how great they are, which is a natural kind of inclination for many on social, like we said. What I recommend you do, again, similar to changing this line here, is write what you do, what your company does for folks in the context of what's important to your target market. I haven't read all of these, so I don't know what they say, but let me see. Elsa saying, Easy Biz Printing are now one company. We're a full service print and marketing company servicing the Bay Area for almost 40 years. Our services include, she lists all the services. Our pricing is competitive, while our service intention detail is second to none. Okay, so Elsa, what I would suggest you think about is, for your target, for the people that you really want to engage, are these the most compelling things that you do? And are you describing them in a way that's giving me, your intended audience, value, something that says, she's someone I want to speak to? And if I am interested, do you give me a way to contact you? A lot of people will read this section here and will get here and say, actually, this is somebody I want to talk to. I believe David is David has his phone number here. I recommend at the end, towards the end of this section here, include your email. Again, I know you have it above, or you should have it above, but include your email, include your cell phone number, or whatever mechanism you like people to engage you with, okay? A lot of people will read this. If you're writing this correctly and you're putting it in terms of what the reader is interested in, the value that you can provide them, a certain percentage of people will get here and will follow up with you, okay? So also include your contact information there and revise that section to be focused on the reader as opposed to us, okay? We want to focus on the reader. Let me scroll down a little bit further here, see if David has this here. So his recommendations here, I'm looking at the recommendations here. I'm going to scroll down and see, Elsa, if you have any recommendations. Okay, perfect. So Elsa's got some recommendations, and then one more. Let's look at Eileen here. Okay, so What's helpful here, men and women, two things. First of all, if you don't have any recommendations, ask for some from your clients, et cetera, because there's a certain amount of social proof that people are looking for. So when they come across your profile, David's, I know there's multiple Davids here, Elsa, Eileen, and Tracy, the rest of you, when they come across your profile, there's a certain aspect of social proof that they're looking for. Is this someone that I can trust? Do other people trust this person? So what we recommend you do is ask a number of people for recommendations. If this is blank, or if you don't have recommendations here, get a couple of recommendations there. LinkedIn gives you the ability to say, okay, I want this one featured, I want this one featured. So you can control kind of what people see. You can revise it with whoever the other person is that's giving you a recommendation. So you have some control over it. Now, the other thing that I recommend doing, so I'm looking here at Eileen. This was from 2013. So that was what, roughly 7 years ago? Elsa's are from 1 to 2 years ago. David's are 6 years ago. So they should be kind of contemporary in that maybe they're a year to 2 years old is kind of where I would recommend you start to think about them. So if you have stuff like Eileen here, or for you, Elsa, go out and get some new recommendations, okay? Show me as the potential buyers, the potential lead, that you've got more activity that's recent, okay? More recent activity. Does that make sense? So go and get some recommendations, and you may have to give a few. It may feel awkward asking for somebody to recommend you, but one easy way to do it is say, hey, you recommend me, Mr. Customer, and I'll write a thoughtful comment about you as well. So get the recommendations, get them updated, pick the ones or highlight the ones that you think are most germane to your audience, and highlight them there. All right, let me see. There's a couple of more things here. I'm just gonna, does anybody else want me to take a look at their profile? So David is asking, can you set the sequence on recommendations? David, do you mean the order? I think you can. I think you could drag them up and down. Couple things here. Elsa, I'm just going to use yours. Hope you don't mind. So Elsa, I haven't actually clicked on this, so I don't know what's going to happen here. But when you list your work history, this experience that you have right here, when you add American Printing and Copy, you can hook it to your actual company page, and people can look at your company by clicking this. I don't know if this actually is going to work. So a couple things that I notice here, and tell me if I need to slow down, folks, if I'm losing you here, but this should link to your company's page. Two things are happening here. One of two things is happening. One, either your company doesn't have a company page, or Elsa, you associated your work history with a non-existent company, okay? Because when you edit this section here, you can start to type in the company name, or you can just make one up. You should find your company and hook it to that so that people can click here and then find out more about your company. Then the other thing that'll do is it'll put a nice logo in here for like it has here. You see how it has the nice little logo there, which is, you know, can make your profile a little bit more attractive in terms of the aesthetics. So definitely for you, David, I don't know, let's click on that, see where that goes. So David, I would recommend, if you don't have a company page, let's set that up. And let's see, who's this? Eileen. Let's see what happens here, Eileen. Same thing there. So folks, do you understand what I'm saying here? I would highly recommend, if you're the owners right now, or if you're in leadership, make sure that you have a company page. And for all of you who work there, associate yourself with that company page. All right. Andre is saying, let's bring up his profile. Thank you, Andre. Okay, picture, good. Okay, something that is kind of related to what you do. Andre, I don't know if you've, have you ever spoken at any industry events? Do you have any picture of you on stage, or meeting with a customer or anything like that? Be interested to see if you have any other examples of what you might be able to add there. Copyland, let's see if you've linked that up to your company page. Haven't done that yet. All right, so yeah, looks like I would take the opportunity to address that as well for you. Your recommendations, Andre, are like, this one's 12 years old, this one is 5 years old. So again, I would recommend getting some more recent recommendations. You have actually, maybe you already did it. You don't have the people also viewed. So maybe you turned that off already, or you had done that before, which is good. Contact info, you have a Yahoo address. I would suggest your corporate address if you have that, a company email address, your phone number, and any other way that you want to make available for people to contact you. Okay, perfect. Interesting. It's good to see all of you here on LinkedIn and kind of learn from all of you in terms of what you're doing. So as I said, what we're going to do here, let's see, Sherry saying, I'll bite, tell me what to do to make mine better. Okay, we'll take a look at yours in a second, Sherry. What we're going to do is after this class, so we don't distract everybody, IRM, can you make sure that they get a copy of this? The PDF link is inside of this slide, so I'll let you send that out later. Folks, take the opportunity to go through that. What I want to do now, I want to talk about how to build connections and connect with people in a way that's going to grow your reach and your influence. And again, it all draws on what we just talked about in terms of having a good profile. So again, I'm going to go live right into LinkedIn here. I'm going to go here from this page. The first thing I want to show you is, you know, when I talk about creating content every day, people often will say, well, shoot, that's a lot. You know, that's a lot of writing I need to do. And it doesn't necessarily only mean that you have to create your own posts. I'm suggesting you also comment, engage in other people's posts, okay? And when you do that, that gives you an opportunity to connect with other people. Sherry happens to be, she's in this class, as many of you know. Sherry happens to be right here on my page. So what I'm going to do is show you what I mean by connecting with people in other posts. You see this right here? Everyone see this? This little 3? Click on that. And for me, the 3 people who like Sherry's posts are all second-degree connections, meaning I'm not connected to any of them yet, right? So if they're good people for me to know, what I would do is go click on Richard. I would open it up in a new tab. You see how it opened up right here? Again, confirm that all of you can see this. Now we're on Richard W., Senior Chief CAC Engineer. Can everyone see that? Let's just imagine for a moment that he's somebody good for me to know. What I recommend you do is then click the connect, add a note, and say, hey, Richard, looks like we know Sherry Robertson in common, would love to connect with you. Something like that. Click done. Okay? And then close that, come back, and continue looking through the rest. Are you getting this? So you want to make connections with people in your industry. You want to make connections with possible clients, right? Here's Renee. I actually had a conversation with her this morning. She's got one comment here. Let me see. Let me click on that comment, see who it is. It's this guy, Don, Customer Account Manager. Let's imagine that he was a good person for me to connect with, right? A couple of things I could do. I would certainly first like his comment, and I would reply to that. I'm going to show you that in a moment. But let's imagine I want to connect with him, right? Looks like I've already invited him to connect. If I hover over his name, see how I'm hovering over his name right here? LinkedIn will bring up this modal, this window right here. And what I can do is it'll put a connect button here. If I haven't already invited him to connect, I can click on that and invite him to connect. So what I'm telling you here is that not only can you do this through other people's posts, but you can also do it in your competitors, right? If you remember, I think it was last week, I showed you how to figure out which of your competitors is putting money into ads and how you can see who's engaging with it. Well, now you can go and start to connect with those people, okay, using this technique. So let's look at one more. Here's somebody who has 6, right? Okay, a couple of them are already first-degree connections for me. I already know Martin, I know Robin. But Stephen, Harold, Rita, and Steve here are all second-degree connections, meaning I'm not connected to them yet. So if all of these folks were good people for me to know, somebody that I want to pull into my circle, I would, just as I did a second ago, I would click on Stephen, open it up in a new window. I might take a quick look at his profile and see what he's all about, right? Make sure he's a good fit for me. He worked at OSE, Canon, that's good. Somebody I want to know. Click connect. And usually when I click connect, I will add a note and reference the reason why I'm connecting with him or her. That makes sense? Go over to the chat. Let me know if you're understanding what I'm talking about here. This is how you connect with people, how you widen your audience by leveraging other people's comments and engagement. This making sense? David says yes. Sherry is saying, interesting that you're saying good to connect with. Do you not think that at some level everyone is worth connecting with? Just curious on that. Well, I would say I'm more of your mindset, Sherry, that it's better to know more people than fewer. But there are some people on LinkedIn that are not worth our time connecting with. Forex, I don't know what the heck Forex is. Some sort of foreign exchange, currency trading. There's crypto people on LinkedIn. They're of no... They're valuable as humans, but they're of no value to me as a business owner. There's nothing that I can do with those people. They're usually trying to scam me or do something with me that I'm just not interested in. So not everyone is worthwhile connecting, at least for me. But you might find an angle with some of those folks that makes it worth your time. But usually it's not a call center, but some sort of like, I don't want to say sweatshop. That's also the wrong word, but it's like somewhere overseas where a bunch of people are just connecting at random with people trying to find the 1 in 10,000 that actually engage with them. So by and large, I would agree with you. It's good to connect with as many as you can, but there are some that I do not connect with. Sure, he's saying lol Forex. Yep. All right, cool. Next one. I want to talk to you about the power of LinkedIn groups. Now, if you haven't joined the COVID-19 print group, you should. There's actually a group that we started for all of you in the print community. Similar to browsing, your LinkedIn newsfeed, if you insert yourself into groups where your buyers hang out, where your market hangs out, you can make a lot of really good connections. Let me see. So for us here, again, I'm just going to pick somebody here that looks interesting. So Graham I'm already connected with, but let's say Graham was somebody that I wanted to do business with, right? And I'm inside of a group. I'm inside of a LinkedIn group right now. If you're not a member of this group, we can get you inside of it. But what I would do is I would start to hover over the people that I want to connect with, and one by one start to connect with the people that I think are somebody that I could do business with. Once you're inside those groups, you start commenting and engaging and talking to people. Think of it kind of like a networking lunch or networking event at a trade show. If you all remember trade shows, where there's a group of like-minded people together, kind of all thinking of one kind of topic or concern. That's what you can find in these groups, and the engagement can be really good. Some of the groups are dead, but many of the groups have a lot of really interesting things happening in them. So I would recommend that you consider joining a couple of groups if you're not already in those, specifically where your buyers are hanging out, where you can start to engage them, okay? Now, I want to show you one more thing for growing your network here, building your connections. If you click on My Network up here at the top, you see where it says My Network? Are you following along? Over here on the left-hand side, we see this right here? It should say More Options. Click on that. Now, there's a couple of really cool things here. One is you can connect your LinkedIn account to your email so that LinkedIn will go and find the people that you already know through email and help you connect them in a more really automated fashion for you. All right. So your customers, your prospects connected to your email so that you can have that sync. In addition, if you have a CRM, if you have some sort of database, you can actually upload a CSV file of the people you know, your customers, your prospects, your partners, media contacts, things like that. Upload it into LinkedIn. LinkedIn will match that with the people on LinkedIn who are those people and help you build your network that way. Not very many people know that that link is right there. It takes a little bit of dancing to get the right format for LinkedIn and the CSV. But if you have a CRM, Salesforce, Pipedrive, whatever it is you use, export the group or the groups of people that are of interest to you, upload them into LinkedIn and start making those connections. Does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying? Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, David's saying that's awesome. Very few people know about that. Anybody else have a question about what I just showed you? Let me know if you have a question here. I'm going to go on to the next. I know I'm giving you a lot, but hopefully this is helpful to all of you. I'm going to talk about how to engage. Okay. Engaging in other people's comments, posts is very, very important. So I'm just going to use Sherry again because Sherry happens to be on my screen here. What I'm about to do is what you shouldn't do. You should actually take the time to read the post and watch the video. But for the sake of time, okay, forgive me. What I'm going to do is just show you what you should be doing after you take the time to read the post. You need to engage with other people's content and leave comments. And if you do that throughout the day, a couple of times a day, you will start to get connection requests. So you're planting seeds by engaging and commenting on other people's content. People are seeing it, and more people will connect with you now that you have your headline kind of written for them by doing what I'm about to show you here. So the first thing I would do is I would click like here, and then I would come here and drop a comment. Now, what I would recommend you do is tag Sherry in your reply, okay? So if you don't know how to do that, click the @ sign, and LinkedIn will bring up a bunch of people that you know. Usually the first one is the author of the post. In this case, it's right. I usually remove the last name. I do something like that, and I say, Sherry, this is really cool. Thank you for being so awesome and participating in our class today. Now, of course, that has nothing to do with what she's saying here. I realize that. Don't do that. It should be germane to the post, okay? I'm just using this as an example. Click post, and now what you have is a comment on someone else's post, okay? I know many of you know this, but this is where you see why that headline is so important, okay? And when you leave somewhere between 5 to 10 comments per day, a minimum, across other people's content in posts that are related to what you do, real estate, print and mail, direct mail, marketing, insurance, investments, whatever it is that you do, people will start to see that and hover over your name, just like I showed you a second ago, and start connecting with you, all right? Now, when you drop a comment like this is probably not the best comment. What I would recommend you do is something more like this. So let's just imagine we're coming back in. We're going to leave her another comment. Sherry, I'm driving engagement on your post here for you. Hopefully that's okay. What I would recommend you do is actually ask a question. So Sherry, this is awesome, right? How is it that you're so cool? Okay, and again, I'm being silly here. This is not what you should do, but you should ask a question that requires a response. What you want to do is you want to drive communication. You want to drive engagement, okay? And you can either ask the person who left the post, or you can ask the rest too. How is it that y'all are so cool, right? And again, I'm just using a silly example, but you want to ask the person who posted the piece of content something, and you want to ask the other readers something. People will start to engage back and forth now in the comments. Sherry's saying, no, don't do that. I'm glad you put the smiley face there. So when you leave comments, you want to ask something. You don't want to just go like this. What a lot of people do is just say, thank you, or cool post, right? First of all, they're not tagging Sherry. Second, there's really no value to that. No question is elicited. No response is required, okay? So if you want to get good at this, learn to be good at finding something in that post that you want to know more about and asking that in the follow-up. Does that make sense? Am I making sense here, everyone? Go over to the comments. Let me know if this is making sense to you. Gotcha. Perfect. So when you do this right, I sent this to you, Sherry, the other day. And again, this is not to scratch my own back, but I just want to show you, or whatever, pat your own back, whatever the expression is. If you don't know Joanne, folks, you should. Joanne Gore, for those of you who are in marketing and print, she's a good person to connect with. Highly recommend you do that. Using these kinds of techniques on LinkedIn, I sent out 4 proposals last week and booked 3 great meetings this week. I'm way more confident in front of a camera. I saw, Jamie, you were asking about that. I'll touch on that in a second. She says, well, I pretend to be. Paying attention and branching into new groups, just what I told you, and new channels. Basically ignoring the perfectionist procrastinator in me and just trying, she likes to cuss, just trying stuff out and not overthink it. I must admit, I'm still fighting the whole self-serving narcissist stigma that comes along with self-promotion. Any tips there? I know you hear it from a lot of people. I'm glad we met, yada, yada. So you get the idea. What she's saying is, because I'm doing all this stuff, I am sending out proposals. I booked 3 great meetings, and I'm even getting more confidence to be on camera, which I suggest that a lot of you do. Here's another one from Amanda. Amanda's not in our not in this class. I'm asking her a little bit about the group that she's a part of, the Facebook group or the LinkedIn group I just showed you. And she's saying that being in that group and engaging in that group in exactly the way I described to you has skyrocketed my name in the industry with some of the people who I never dreamed of meeting. Now I'm being asked to be involved in so many groups, it's really a dream come true. Amanda's in sales, okay? And what she's saying is this is giving her visibility. She's saying she used the word skyrocketed, her visibility, her name in the industry. That's what you want. One more example here from Isabel. She's also not in today's training, but she's part of a LinkedIn group. And I asked her, hey, how are things going? How are you putting this stuff into practice and what's it doing for you? Actually, Sherry, you engaged with her now that I think of it, right? And she's saying, I wanted to reach out and let you know that some very useful advice I got from one of your group members, Sherry, who's in this training today, helped me generate some business. So thankful for the group. And she's saying that the advice that she got from another group member, Sherry, who's in this class, ultimately led to a few flatbed sales. So she's generating revenue. Isn't that cool? This is what happens when you start to do this right. So the strategy is get your profile right. We're going to give you that checklist. Publish content in the way that I've described to you. Connect with people in the way that I've shown you today and engage. You do these 4 things consistently, daily, I suggest. Don't give up. Continue to do it. Plant these seeds, and these things will come to you. That's what LinkedIn is providing right now. Now, I'm going to challenge you all here, all right? If you guys and girls like challenges, here's what we're going to do. Let me see how we're doing on time. Yeah, a little bit behind. But I'm going to give you a 7-day challenge here. Between now and the next session, when we get together, here's what I want you to do. I want you to send 5 connection requests per day. I want you to leave 5 comments. And over the next week, I want you to create at least 3 posts, okay? So when I say 5 connection requests, I mean find 5 people you're not connected with that you want to know and send them a connection, 5 per day. I want you to leave 5 comments per day, meaning go to somebody else's post, drop a comment, ask a question, add some value, and I want you to create your own posts, 3 posts, okay? Here's what we've done. We've taken all of you who are in this class, we've put you in a spreadsheet. And Iram's going to share that link in just a second, okay? Because some of you are missing data here. And what we did is we calculated how many followers you have right now. How big is your network on LinkedIn? Number 1 is Jamie. Jamie, kudos to you, my man. Second on the list here is Anne Marie. 3rd is David Buck. 4th is Tracy Wick. And 5th is Jim Miller. And this is in terms of your current network size, your current scope of influence on LinkedIn, okay? What we're going to do is a week from today, we're going to measure your numbers, okay? And we're going to figure out who's gained the most in terms of followers and who's gained the most in terms of percent, who's grown the most percent-wise, and we're going to rank you. The first place winner in each of those categories is going to get a prize next week, okay? Iram, if you can, take that link, it's in this slide here, take that Google Sheet link and paste it into the group for everybody. At a minimum, folks, what you should be doing is connecting with each other here in this group. We've included the link to all of your profiles. Click all of those and connect with one another, okay? And if you think, why would I connect with my enemy? Why would I connect with a competitor? Guys, girls, you don't know what's going to happen. You may buy that company. They may buy you. You may need an employee. You may need a partner. You may need a new vendor, right? Tracy, who sells real estate here, you don't think she needs a print partner? A marketing partner? She absolutely does, right? Go in there and connect with everybody. Start to build relationships. There's 50 people on this list, something like 50. There's at least 50 connections there waiting for you, okay? Iram just put that in the chat. Thank you, Iram. Awesome. It is an editable list, meaning you can go in there and actually edit it. And the reason I did that, actually, let me bring it up here. Boom, boom, boom. Here, if you can see it here on the screen. The reason why I did that, there's a few of you. Can you all see the Google Sheet on my screen? Say yes if you can see it, please. Give me a yes if you can see this. Iram, can you see it? Yeah, okay, perfect. So some of you, men and women, I need you to come in here. If you're going to skyrocket your influence like the others have and grow your leads, I need you to come in and fill this in where it has the question marks. That means that for you, when we looked up your profile, you have such little activity that LinkedIn isn't even displaying your follower number, okay? You can see it. You can see your number, but we can't. So you have to have some activity and then LinkedIn will show it to us. But for those of you who are here, it's not there. What I need you to do is fill it in so that we have that, and you all should be able to access the sheet. Go fill it in. Like I said, go click and start connecting with each other. How many people are here? 45 people are in here, okay? So Paul, Leon, Iram, Dave, all the Daves, Andre, come in here, especially if you have a small network, and start connecting with these people. That'll bring you some value. And what we're going to do, like I said, is a week from today, we're going to go in and we're going to calculate who has grown the most using these techniques to be able to then pick a winner in terms of who's added the most to their network from a numbers perspective as well as from a percentage perspective. All right. Does that make sense, everyone? Are you clear on what you need to do? I want you between today and the time we're back together again to put into practice what we're talking about. 5 connection requests per day, 5 comments per day, 3 posts, and let's see what happens in a week's time. All right. Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying here. I'm going to take questions here in a moment. Awesome. Amy says, no problem. David says, I got it. Sharon's got it. Cool. Now, when you do this, folks, again, this is to help you plant the seeds of how to flow more traffic into your marketing campaigns, right? It all starts with making sure you understand this, what you do. You've been through the training now. You understand this. And taking advantage of LinkedIn is what's going to help you siphon more traffic and push it into these kinds of campaigns, okay? So by doing this 7-day challenge, I know it seems silly, but I'm trying to give you all a push to actually make this happen and reward you, give you street cred as well as a prize for the top people to get you moving, to get you to actually do this stuff, all right? Next week, I'm going to talk specifically about how you can write posts on LinkedIn when you're creating your own content that drive engagement, okay? I want to show you a few things there that you need to know. And then following that, I'm going to give you some tips on how to write copy. We're certainly not going to do a deep copywriting class, but there's some very simple things that you can do that most people do not, that's going to help you write posts on LinkedIn that do a lot better, emails that do a lot better, all right? So I'm just at the end of the time here. Forgive me for going 60 minutes over our official allotted time. I want to pause and see what questions you have, number one. And number two, what stood out to you today? What was it that we went through? You were like, oh my gosh, I never even thought of that. That blows my mind. Didn't know you could do that. Didn't know I should do that. So questions and what stood out to you. David saying, thanks, David. I need to go. Good stuff. Yes, David. Sorry for keeping you 60 seconds over, but hopefully you got value out of today. I want to hear from the rest of you. I'm going to call out a few names here. So the 2 questions are, what stood out to you? And I want to know what questions you have. If there's anything that you're saying, I still don't get what you were saying there. Jamie saying, can you send me info on going live? Yes, Jamie, I'll talk on that in a second. Cami is saying CSV upload. Sherry is saying, I didn't know you could hide the other people. That is good to know. Yep. Tracy saying, changing the settings so people can't see similar people. Yeah. Elsa saying, I had no idea I could block out the other views on the right side of my profile. Thank you. Yes. Jamie is saying, adding company profile. Jamie, are you saying, how do you do that? Or that's the thing that stood out to you? Amy is saying, getting rid of our competitors. Yes. Awesome. So couple things. So recently, LinkedIn, and I just got this capacity yesterday, I think it was, or earlier today, gives us the ability to go live, like Facebook as an example. So Jamie is asking specifically, how do you do that here in the platform? Jamie, you have to apply for that. So I think if you just go to Google and say apply for LinkedIn Live, the link that comes up, yeah, right here, gives you the ability to apply for it. They're still only giving it to select few. So if you're interested in that, Jamie, go there. I've applied 4 times, I think, before I finally got accepted. So you might have to do it a few times. Then Jamie's saying, how do I create a company profile? So Jamie, let me pull yours up again and let me just see what we're dealing with here. Jamie, confirm that I got you correctly here. Is this you? Yes, it should be you. So BioFlow, let me click on that and see what we got. Okay, so BioFlow doesn't seem to have a company page. So It should be, you should have the capacity to create a company page here in this menu item. See where it says create a company page? I'll do it again. You click work, click that pull down, create a company page, Jamie, and for the rest of you who don't have that as well, go there, create your company page, and then go back in, edit your profile to make sure that you connect this to your company page. It'll be apparent once you go back in there and edit how you do that, okay? What other questions, comments do you all have? We touched the surface of a lot of this today. I didn't want to overwhelm you, but if you do those 4 things, again, what I'm talking about are these here. Get your profile right. Let me bring it back up on the screen. Get your profile right. Publish content. Connect. And engage. Good things will happen. All right. As an example, let's see, where am I at right now? So I've got 24 unread messages in here. 43 notifications. You should be checking these on a regular basis. These are, as people are commenting and responding to you and interacting with you, you should be looking at that. These are messages that people are sending. This is where you'll see there's a couple people waiting to connect with me, likely from exactly what I showed you today, right? So all I do is I come in here and just click accept. You want to do that a few times a day, or maybe once a day, depending on where you're at in your network. All right. So Leon's saying all really good. Okay, Leon, let me know if you have any questions. Amy says I have to go. No problem, Amy. I'm glad. Hopefully you got value out of today. I know that we went a little bit over. Tracy, Sophia, Sherry, Paul, Michael, Jamie, Elsa, Eileen, David. There's a couple Davids still here. Cami, Brian, Anne Marie. I'm here for you. What questions do you have? Eileen saying good stuff as always. How does LinkedIn handle out-of-date connection emails? Out-of-date connection emails. David, can you clarify just a little bit more what you mean by that? Sherry says, did you say that you are recommending posting content daily? Yeah, absolutely, Sherry. But for the purposes of the challenge, I'm asking you to do 3 between now and next week. But yes, definitely recommend daily. Elsa saying that was great. I need to jump off. No problem, Elsa. Thank you. Sherry's. Does that mean, uh-oh, how do I do that? Tracy, how often should there be posts on your company page? Fairly often, Tracy. Typically you can syndicate content between yourself and your company page. So meaning if you share something on your company page, you can then repurpose it for yourself and vice versa. But don't try to bite off more than you can chew right now. Do at least get the company page up and running. Try to do a post or 2 a week on there if you can. Maybe get others involved in your company if you can to create content on there. David is saying recommendations come up, some of which are old emails from prior companies. Recommendations come up, some of which are old emails from prior companies. Okay. Need to think about that. Paul needs to go. No problem. Tracy's saying I post on hours daily. Perfect. Good. All right, folks. Well, I know you have to leave. David is saying, let me try to understand what you're saying here, David. Recommendations come up, but some of which are old emails from prior companies. So David, are you talking about the recommendations that you see here that LinkedIn is suggesting that you connect with? Like people here? Is that what you mean? Let me know if that's what you're talking about. For those of you who are still here, and I realize we're running over, another little piece of value for you, LinkedIn will actually make recommendations as to who you should connect with. Once it learns a little bit more about you, they're actually fairly good. So there are people usually locally to you, people that you went to school with, or that you might have gone to school with, people from the groups that you're a part of. So let's see if there's some interesting, there's a couple interesting suggestions here. It'll show you how many mutual connections you have. And so often I will go through this and find, there's somebody good I should be connected with. Let me connect with them. And again, they make it super simple. Let's say Stefan or Steven here is somebody I want to connect with. Just click that connect button and it shoots off the connection to him. Anne Marie is saying, is there a way to just have your personal profile and not a company profile? Sure. I think though that what you're talking about is in the context of your, let me pull you up real quick. Anne Marie, I think, Anne Marie, tell me if I'm correct here. Are you asking whether you have to link to your company page here? Is that what you're saying? You certainly don't have to. But if that's what you're asking, I would recommend you do, but you certainly don't have to. Okay, I'm going to wait another minute or two. Tracy, Sophia, Sherry, Sharon, Michael, Leon, Jamie, David, Dave, Brian, Anne Marie. What other questions do you have? I hope this was of value to you. Let's talk about what's going to happen from here. IRAM is going to send you this document, right? And you're going to go in and update your profile. And then you're going to get to work. And I'm going to see all of your connections start to grow. Please connect with me if we're not already connected. Connect with each other. And a week from today, we're going to see in the challenge here who is the top dog, top king or queen here in terms of putting this to practice. Anne Marie is saying, yes, I'd like to keep my brand as me and not have a separate company profile. Okay. Sharon saying, I am still on, but doing some editing in LinkedIn now. Cool. Good. Thanks so much. We're going to start our holiday now. Yep, Sherry, I know a lot of people are starting their holiday. Have a great 4th. And I'll wait another 60 seconds. See if any of you have questions. As always, IRAM is going to send the follow-up information. If you have any questions, email us. Let us know what you have questions on. Spend a few moments on this, folks. I know the 4th of July is coming up. This is a great time to start making connections with folks, getting yourself ready for Q3, Q4. Hopefully you closed out the first half of the year strong, and or at least where you wanted to be, get all things considered, and get yourself positioned now for moving into the rest of the year. All right, Tracy says, thanks for the great content, David. Have a great weekend. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you being here.